Hello, you're tuning in the English News Bulletin on QPVN channel. I'm Chung Nguyen, and now let me keep you up to date with the headlines. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính meets with U.S. business community. Chemical troops ready to master modern equipment. Gyeongsang Province rice industry maintains leading position. In celebration of the 70th anniversary of Haiphong's Liberation Day, the Haiphong City People's Committee and the Vietnam Maritime Corporation held a ceremony on May the 13th to inaugurate Lạch Huyện International Container Terminals No. 3 and No. 4, a strategic development in Vietnam's port and logistic infrastructure. President Lương Cường attended the event, joined by other senior leaders, including Senior Lieutenant General Vũ Hải Sản, Deputy Minister of National Defense.
During the ceremony, President Cường and dignitaries activated the official launch of the two terminals and presented gifts to port leadership and workers in recognition of their efforts in building a modern, efficient maritime hub. The newly inaugurated terminals have a combined berth length of 750 meters and a water depth of 16 meters, capable of accommodating vessels up to 100,000 DWT at full load and up to 200,000 DWT when partially loaded. The project also includes a dedicated barge dock and a suite of supporting infrastructure with an annual handling capacity of 1.5 million TEUs, developed under the Green Port Smart Port model. The terminal feature advanced automation and environmentally friendly technologies that align with global trends in sustainable maritime development. The opening of terminals No. 3 and No. 4 brings the total number of berths at Lạch Huyện Port to 6.
On May 13th, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính met with U.S. business representatives in Vietnam to address concerns, overcome obstacles, and propose solutions to strengthen Vietnam-U.S. investment and business cooperation. This is the second meeting in 2 months, underscoring the government's commitment to fostering open dialogue and creating the best conditions for U.S. businesses to thrive in Vietnam.
During the session, representatives from the U.S. Embassy, the American Chamber of Commerce in Hanoi, and major U.S. companies commended the Vietnamese government for its proactive approach in holding regular meetings to listen and address barriers to enhance trade and investment between the two countries. They noted that Vietnam's business and investment environment is steadily improving. Recently, Vietnam has taken a more active role in advancing balanced and sustainable trade and investment cooperation with the U.S. U.S. representatives called for continued reforms in administrative procedures, the removal of non-tariff barriers, the resolution of tax, fee, and charge-related issues, assurance of necessary infrastructure, and the strengthening of business management and supervision to ensure transparency and product origin. They also urged the swift implementation of bilateral agreements and the resolution of specific project-related issues. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính acknowledged the global trade tensions and emphasized that Vietnam views these challenges as opportunities to restructure its economy and trade toward fairness and sustainability. He also highlighted the importance of diversifying markets, products, and supply chains. Vietnam has proactively addressed the concerns of U.S. businesses, standing firm against trade fraud, actively reforming administrative procedures, eliminating unnecessary investment conditions, and reducing the time and cost associated with administrative processes for businesses and citizens.
Continuing its 9th session, the 15th National Assembly convened on the afternoon of May the 13th under the chair of National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn to discuss the bill on science, technology, and innovation. One of the key highlights of the proposed legislation is a provision that formally recognizes and accepts the inherent risk involved in scientific research and innovation.
Most lawmakers agreed with the government's proposal and the appraisal report, affirming that the development of the law on science, technology, and innovation aims to create a breakthrough mechanism to attract and utilize talent, promote innovation, and strongly apply science and technology. However, the draft law should include clearer provisions on evaluating the effectiveness of innovation in order to develop appropriate policies. Lawmakers expressed strong support for this draft law's provision on accepting risk in scientific and technological research and innovation, emphasizing that the very nature of these activities involves the acceptance of controlled failure. Several deputies also called for greater attention to the social sciences and humanities, describing them as the essence of national identity and traditional values, which contribute to the strength of the nation.
As part of the official visit to Belarus by Party General Secretary To Lâm, his spouse, and the high-ranking Vietnamese delegation, on May the 12th, General Phan Van Giang, Vietnamese Minister of National Defense, held talks with his Belarusian counterpart, Lieutenant General Krenin Viktor Gennadievich.
The Belarusian defense minister affirmed Belarus considers Vietnam one of the priorities in its Asia-Pacific foreign policy and seeks to deepen bilateral ties, especially in defense cooperation, in the spirit of bilateral traditional friendship and multifaceted cooperation. Minister Phan Van Giang highlighted that the bilateral relationship has been constantly developed over the past more than 30 years since the two countries established their diplomatic ties, with defense cooperation being among important pillars. The two ministers reviewed the progress since their last meeting in Hanoi in December 2024, noting effective cooperation in areas such as high-level delegation exchanges, military education, defense science, and multilateral engagement. Both sides agreed to establish a bilateral working group on defense cooperation to advise and propose strategic directions. They also welcomed the upgrade of Vietnam-Belarus relations to a strategic partnership during General Secretary To Lâm visit, calling it a solid foundation for future cooperation across all fields, including defense cooperation. Looking ahead, both sides agreed to direct affiliates of the two defense ministries to work closely and effectively realize defense cooperation plan for 2025 and consider extending collaboration in training through short-term courses and sharing of experience in fields that have strengths and needs. Exchanges should be enhanced to specify cooperation in military science. The two sides will promote collaboration, experience sharing, and exchanges in terms of politics and military, particularly political and ideological education, military history, and military judiciary. They also agreed to boost technical military cooperation and support each other's international defense events. Following the talks, the ministers witnessed the signing of the operating regulation for the newly established bilateral defense working group.
Receiving Major General Israel Tomas Dominguez, Director of the Signal Department under the Ministry of the Cuban Revolutionary Armed Forces on the morning of May the 13th in Hanoi, Lieutenant General Thái Đại Ngọc, Deputy Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army, respectfully thanked the MINH for sending a delegation led by the political chief of the Cuban Revolutionary Armed Forces to Vietnam to attend the 50th anniversary celebration of the South Liberation and National Reunification. He also extended congratulations on the 64th anniversary of the GIANG victory of the Cuban people on April the 19th. Lieutenant General Thái Đại Ngọc emphasized that the bilateral defense cooperation continues to be promoted in different fields, including the cryptography, with such positive results as delegation exchanges, training, and technical support. In the coming time, General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army will direct relevant agencies and units to effectively implement the agreed contents in accordance with the conditions and capabilities of each side, contributing to peace, stability, and development of the region and the world. Major General Israel Tomas Dominguez affirmed his efforts to coordinate with the Ministry of National Defense of Vietnam in promoting defense relations in general and the cipher work in particular. He said thanks to the Ministry of National Defense of Vietnam for the support in ensuring food security and cooperation programs on national security and defense. Brigade 87 under the Chemical Corps is the core force in preventing and combating terrorism, riots, handling incidents of toxic biological chemicals, nuclear radiation, the environment, and handling post-war toxic substances in the southern provinces. With the spirit of good training and timely prevention, the brigade has actively innovated the training methods, improved knowledge, and specialized skills so that the troops can master modern equipment and weapons.
Every time they put on their equipment, officers and soldiers of Brigade 87 feel like they are entering a battle. They not only fight invisible enemies such as toxic chemicals and radiation, but also fight with themselves when they have to concentrate highly and rush to dangerous places in harsh weather conditions. Chemical troops are required to have good physical strength, qualifications and professional skills combined with modern equipment, ready to endure in equipment and in harsh weather conditions, as well as good coordination between forces to ensure absolute safety. To exploit and use the newly equipped modern equipment, the unit has selected experienced and highly responsible officers to accompany and carefully guide each team. Many innovations have been born, such as the toxicology training equipment of Senior Lieutenant Zhao Tấn-Phúc. This device is capable of creating smoke combined with toxic substance samples in the smoke screen, so that the reconnaissance troops can improve their awareness of enemy and toxic substances. Besides, we use chemicals that are available on the market, so they can be used for both training and real-life situations. If victory on the battlefield is the destination, then serious training on the real ground is the indispensable beginning of chemical soldiers in peacetime.
Coming up next, Quảng Ngãi, Trường Bà Temple Festival held. GIANG Province rice industry maintain leading position. On the 2 days of May the 12th and the 13th, the Cha Bông District People's Committee of Quảng Ngãi Province organized the Trường Bà Temple Festival. The festival is to commemorate the Holy Mother Goddess of Thiên Ina and other saints for their merits of land expansion, as well as to honor the unity of the brotherly ethnic groups.
The Trường Bà Temple Festival was initiated and preserved by the Vietnamese Go community from generation to generation. This is the pride of the local people, a vivid symbol of the great national unity, self-reliance, national pride and patriotism. Over many generations, the Trường Bà Temple Festival has become an indispensable part of the cultural and spiritual life of local people, contributing to strengthening the community's strength. Taking place on the full moon day of the 4th lunar month, the festival often attracts thousands of locals and tourists nationwide.
Along with other sectors, over the past 50 years since the liberation of the South and national reunification, the rice industry of GIANG Province has been remarkable development with significant milestones. These achievements have helped improve the lives of local people and made positive contribution to the province's socio-economic growth.
Nguyễn Hồng Phương, director of Đường Gỗ Lộ Farmers Agricultural Cooperative, is an exemplary and successful farmer in GIANG Province. He shared that in the years after the Liberation Day, with traditional and outdated farming methods, the rice yield was just over 100 kilograms per 1,000 square meters. Since the 2000s, thanks to the application of scientific and technological advances and cultivation of high-quality rice varieties, the productivity has gradually increased. Under the cooperative model, collective water pumping and synchronized mechanization in the fields have been applied, so farmers are no longer enduring the hard labor as the past and no longer having to handle pesticides directly. As a result, rice productivity has significantly increased. Recently, precision agricultural technologies like drones and pest sensor stations have been applied, The transition from low-yield, low-quality rice farming to high-yield, high-quality production has significantly enhanced the added value of the province rice farming in the province, with farmers' profit exceeding 50%. In recent years, the province has maintained about 40,000 hectares of rice farming under SRP, organic, global GAP and Viet GAP standards, with controlled pesticide residues to serve export markets such as the EU and Japan. Local farmers are ready to integrate more deeply into the global rice market, further enhancing the value of Vietnamese rice, income, profit and quality of life.
And that's all for now. Remember, you can always watch the news again at QPVN.vn. Now, thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.